There's a version of you that never sleeps in, never skips training, never wastes time. There's a version of you who never fails. It is waiting for you. Genuinely ask yourself a question, you at home. If you had done those things for the last 2 years, you never skipped a training, you never wasted time, you never scrolled TikTok, you never sat aimlessly on the internet typing in garbage, never played video games, you never wasted time. You never skipped training. You were training every single day. You never slept in. You were never lazy. There's this version of you. Imagine the person you would be. Genuinely imagine what you would look like. Imagine where you would live. Imagine the car you would drive. Imagine how much your woman would respect you. Imagine the love you would see in her eyes when she looks at you with adoration like a king. Imagine your existence. That person is waiting for you. And the only thing that's stopping you from being that person is your monumental laziness. You can have it. The universe is very giving. It will give you anything you work for. I've never seen somebody try for something with all of their might and not get it. The only people who do not have the things they want are the people who do not try for them. I've never seen a person wake up and say, my only dedication in life is to solve a Rubik's Cube and fail. You are not stupid. You are not incompetent. You are lazy and arrogant. It's extremely important you understand that that person is waiting for you and you are declining that version of yourself. In the multiverse, in the many different versions of the universe that exist, there is a version of you that does those exact things. And he is a greater person than you can even fathom. You can transform yourself into that guy. You can be a top G. That's exactly what I did. I knew who I was going to have to end up being before I became that person. My brother and I are not from rich families. We are not from advantaged beginnings, but I knew I had to be a big, strong, fighting billionaire. That's what I knew I had to be. Discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, if you can't force yourself to not log into Pornhub or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? The only people who get to live their lives based on how they feel are women and children. Children can cry because they feel like crying, as can a woman. A woman can start an argument because she feels like arguing, as can a child. A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline. If you do not have the discipline to dedicate yourself to anything, you are going to fail and be crushed by the people who can. If you only go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're never going to be as strong as the people who go to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym. That is a reality of life. So, I train every single day. I've actually heard from some people saying, you overtrain. And I explained to them, one, I don't believe in rest. I'm not you. I'm not pussy and I'm not broke like you are, Mr. Fitness Trainer, standing around the gym teaching people for $50 an hour. I don't need to listen to you. Secondly, I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it. So I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. I am that man. And it's more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot? Discipline is absolutely essential for success, and you need to get very comfortable and very used to the idea of understanding that on your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. Discipline is the key to success in all realms as a man. And if you lack it, you stand no chance. You can give most people a roadmap to success. You can give them a Ferrari with a full tank of gas, and a lot of people still wouldn't make the destination because they would say the drive is too far away. quitters. They don't have the discipline. You can tell them exactly how to do it. You can give them the mechanism to get there, but they don't have the discipline to complete the drive and end up at the destination. That is the majority of Earth. This is your competition. People who, even if they are told what to do and people tell them exactly how to do it and help them do it, still quit, still fail because they lack discipline. Even me, with my monumental powers, I can't make a quitter successful. It doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter how easily I make it for them to succeed. It doesn't matter how compendious and concise and powerful the real world is. It doesn't matter how much I text them and motivate them, how many emergency meetings I do to try and talk to them and hype them up, how much motivation I give them. It doesn't matter what I do. If they are a quitter, guess what they're going to do? They're going to quit. No matter how simple the map is to read, no matter how fast a Ferrari is, somewhere along the drive, the sun's gonna get in their eyes, and they're gonna sit there and go, I don't like this is hard, and they're gonna quit. Quitters are the number one type of people that nobody can help. If you're a quitter, I can't help you, life can't help you, God himself cannot help a quitter. So if you lack discipline, you lack the very basic building block to any type of success which exists on the planet. By every single metric which can be measured with science, you are going to stay a loser and a failure. The key is to keep training. If you train hard every single day, you don't have to worry about a little bit of vitamin C. It's true. If you don't train and you don't smoke, you're still going to be a pussy.
Yes.
The answer is always hard work. As soon as you are granted life, you are guaranteed death. What you do in between is up to you. You are all conscious. That could end tomorrow, that could end in 100 years. But the time between the beginning of your consciousness and the end of it is money gives you freedom, and freedom is happiness. You can't love life when every decision is controlled by a price tag. You're not moral for being poor. You're just trapped. And the world doesn't care. While you're praying for peace, the rich are buying it. While you're stressed about rent, they're choosing what continent to wake up on. Money doesn't just buy happiness. It buys the power to escape misery. So wake up, get angry, and go take what's yours. Let's make something crystal clear. The phrase, money doesn't buy happiness, is one of the greatest lies ever sold to the masses. And it's not just wrong, it's strategically evil. They needed you to believe that so you'd accept your place in the dirt. They spoon-fed you that nonsense from birth, so every time you failed, every time you were broke, you could whisper it like a lullaby to yourself and sleep a little easier in mediocrity. But deep down, you knew it was a lie. You knew every time you checked your bank account and felt that lump in your chest, every time your mom struggled to pay a bill, every time you had to say no to something your soul craved, you knew that lie was killing you. Let me explain something that society doesn't want you to hear. Money is the ultimate antidote to suffering, not because it buys you fake smiles or luxury handbags or champagne and clubs, but because it erases fear. And fear, not sadness, is the root of unhappiness. Fear of rent, fear of being powerless, fear of getting sick and not affording help, fear of never escaping, fear of staying average. You take that fear away, you eliminate 90% of the sadness in your life. Money can't buy happiness. Tell that to a man whose child is dying and needs surgery. Tell that to the single mother crying herself to sleep because rent's overdue. Go to the slums of the world and say it out loud. See how long you last. What money really buys is control. You see, a man who has no control over his environment, his time, or his choices is a prisoner. He's stuck in the system, chained by responsibilities, owned by someone else's schedule. And you can't be truly happy when you don't even own your own day, when you can't say, I want to rest, and actually rest. When your alarm clock is your master, and your paycheck is your leash, happiness starts when you become so free that no one on this earth can tell you what to do. And freedom, real freedom, costs money. That's not opinion, that's mathematics. You think rich people are evil, fine. But understand this, they sleep better than you, they eat clean, breathe in silence, move with confidence, and live without the weight you carry daily. Not because they're special, not because they're lucky, but because they understood the game. Money is the lever that lifts the entire weight of life. You don't have to be evil to be rich. You don't have to sell your soul, but you have to stop pretending you're noble for being broke.
There's nothing noble about struggling to survive. There's no virtue in poverty, only pain, only helplessness, only compromise. I'm not saying you should worship money. I'm saying you should respect it enough to chase it. You should understand its power and make it your ally, not your enemy. Because happiness isn't sitting on a beach sipping coconut water all day. Happiness is knowing your family is safe, your body is healthy, your future is secured, and your mind is free from constant war. That peace, that comfort, that safety net you desperately crave, all of it costs money. You don't get peace with poverty, you get paranoia, you get desperation, you get stress so thick you can taste it when you breathe. So when people say money doesn't buy happiness, what they really mean is, I gave up. They mean, I tried and failed and now I'm bitter. They mean, it hurts too much to chase it, so I'll pretend I don't need it. And I get it. Chasing money isn't easy. It's painful, it's exhausting, it demands your soul and your attention and your discipline. But guess what? So does being broke. Except you get nothing for it. You suffer now and you suffer later. At least when you chase wealth, you suffer now and then you win. You breathe, you protect, you build, you provide, you rise. Money doesn't solve everything. No one said it did. But it solves most of the problems that keep people miserable. It buys time to think. It buys silence to focus. It buys the ability to say no to nonsense. It buys choices. And happiness is a game of choices. You can't choose joy when your back's against the wall. You can't choose peace when you're drowning in debt. You can't even choose health if you can't afford to eat clean or see a doctor. People talk about happiness like it's this mystical, magical unicorn that appears when your spirit is aligned with the moon. It's not. Happiness is practical. It's physical. It's I'm not scared anymore. It's I can finally breathe. And money gets you there faster than any mantra or yoga retreat ever will. So stop lying to yourself. Stop clinging to slogans that make failure feel safe. If money doesn't matter, then why does it feel like everything hurts without it? Why do the bills pile up like guilt? Why do you feel shame when your card gets declined? That's not just inconvenience, that's emotional trauma. And you don't cure trauma with affirmations. You kill it with action. You wake up, lock in, and go to war for your freedom. You learn, you build, you struggle, you level up. Not because you're greedy, but because you want to live, because you want to smile and actually mean it. Because your happiness deserves to be more than a fantasy. And when you finally get there, when the account is stacked and the noise fades and you feel the weight lift, you'll realize something profound. They lied. Money doesn't buy happiness. It bought your life back. I remember the first time I saw real happiness on my mother's face. Not the tired smile she wore to keep me from worrying, not the forced laugh to pretend everything was okay. I mean, the real kind, joy without stress behind her eyes, peace without panic in her breath. We were in a restaurant, somewhere quiet, with the kind of lighting that makes the world feel softer. The bill came and I paid it without looking, no hesitation, no calculation. And in that moment, I saw she realized for the first time in her life she would never have to struggle again, that the war was over. And that's when it hit me. Money doesn't just buy happiness, it buys healing. When you grow up broke, money isn't about gold watches or Lambos or first-class flights, it's about safety. It's about lifting the people you love out of the battlefield and into peace. I used to hear my mom crying through the walls. I'd sit there as a kid wondering why adults were always so tired, why the fridge felt empty even when food was inside it, why smiles in poor homes never lasted. You grow up fast when you realize your parents are superheroes wearing cracked armor. And no matter how many birthdays they made special, you could see it in their hands, the stress, the fight, the exhaustion. That's not life. That's survival. And survival isn't happiness. It's the absence of it. People talk about money like it's some dirty thing, some evil force, but I've seen what lack of money does to good people. It turns laughter into tension. It makes couples argue. It makes children quiet. It takes your light and slowly replaces it with this dull weight that never leaves. I didn't want that. I swore I'd never let that be my future. So I worked. While others played, I worked. While they slept, I studied. When they partied, I plotted. Because I knew one truth no one could argue with. Money was going to save me. They tried to shame me for saying it. They said, money doesn't buy happiness. I said, then you've never had enough to feel its power. Because when you've lived without it, when you've watched people you love get sick and couldn't help, when you've stayed silent in class because you couldn't afford the trip or the lunch or the shoes, you know, You know, money isn't about greed, it's about dignity. It's about walking into a room and not feeling smaller than everyone else. It's about having options when the world tries to box you in. It's the difference between being a beggar and being a man who writes his own story. I've bought happiness 1,000 times. I bought it when I flew my brother out of a dead-end job and gave him purpose. I bought it when I handed my assistant a bonus and saw tears in her eyes because she could finally pay off her mother's surgery. I bought it when I looked in the mirror and didn't see fear looking back. You want to tell me that's not happiness? Then you've never truly lived. Because real happiness is jumping around, screaming. It's quiet. It's calm. It's waking up without panic. It's knowing you don't have to answer to anyone. That your time belongs to you. That if you want to disappear for a week, you can. That if your dad gets sick, he's getting the best treatment in the world. No delays, no prayers, just action. That's not happiness. That's the purest form of it. I used to sleep on floors. I remember staring at the ceiling thinking, this can't be life. I wasn't angry. I was desperate. I wasn't jealous. I was determined. Because I knew deep in my bones that money was the bridge between who I was and who I could be. And no one was going to build that bridge for me. I had to bleed on it. I had to sweat on it. I had to suffer so my future self could breathe. And let me tell you, the pain was worth it. Every single ounce of it. Because now I don't chase happiness. I live in it. You can pretend all you want. You keep posting quotes about inner peace and detachment from material things, but when rent is due, peace evaporates. When your child needs something and you can't provide, detachment turns into guilt. Money may not make you holy, but it makes you whole. It fills the cracks. It fixes what was broken. Not everything, no, but enough to finally feel alive instead of just surviving. And if that's not happiness, then what is? You know, it's funny. People love to say, but look at the rich who are miserable. And I say, show me the poor who are truly at peace. You'll find exceptions on both sides, but the math doesn't lie. Money can't buy joy if your soul is rotten. But if your heart is pure and your intentions are real, then money becomes your weapon, your protection, your freedom license. And with that freedom, happiness comes sprinting in, not because you forced it, but because you finally made room for it. Don't get rich to impress the world. I got rich because I was tired of watching the world crush people I cared about. I got rich so I could finally stop worrying, so I could walk through life with my head high and my back straight. I got rich so I could look my younger self in the eye and say, we made it. We're safe now. That feeling, that peace, that triumph, money bought it. Every damn bit of it. Here's the brutal truth most men won't admit to themselves. Deep down, you know money buys happiness. You just don't want to admit that your entire life you've been poor and pretending it's noble. You've built a belief system around your own failures. You've convinced yourself that struggle is virtue, that peace can be found in lack. But every time you lie in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering how you'll make it to the end of the month, every time you look in your child's eyes and pretend everything's fine, there's a voice in the back of your head screaming the truth. That voice is me. And I'm telling you, you're not supposed to live like this. You weren't born to suffer. You weren't born to scrape by. You weren't put on this earth to beg, borrow, and settle. You were built for conquest. You were designed for victory. And yet here you are, trapped in a financial prison, trying to convince yourself the chains are bracelets. The world doesn't care about your excuses. Rent doesn't care about your potential. The bank doesn't care about your dreams. That's the battlefield. And money is your only weapon. Without it, you are a target. With it, you are a king. Do you know what fear really is? It's not spiders or heights. Fear is standing in front of a hospital bed, watching someone you love in pain, knowing you can't afford the treatment that could save them. Fear is watching opportunity walk past you because you don't have the price of admission. Fear is living every day like a ticking time bomb, hoping nothing unexpected happens. Because even a flat tire could break you. That's not life. That's psychological warfare. And you're losing. Because the truth is, you don't have time. Every day you waste is a day further from freedom, a day closer to regret. You want to know why you're depressed? Why you feel weak? Why nothing excites you anymore? Because your soul is suffocating. You're not supposed to wake up tired and drag yourself through a meaningless job. You're not supposed to watch people on Instagram live the life you want while pretending you're at peace. That's not peace. That's defeat disguised as humility. You were meant to dominate. You were built to rise. But they've tricked you into thinking ambition is greed and wealth is evil. No, poverty is evil. Poverty is the thief of joy. And here's the part they don't tell you. Happiness isn't some mystical inner state. It's having options. It's waking up and choosing how to live your day. It's booking a flight because you feel like it. It's buying your parents a home and knowing they'll never have to work again. It's seeing a woman you love and knowing you can give her the life she deserves, not just promises, but real action. That kind of power, that kind of freedom, that's not spiritual, that's financial. The men who say money doesn't matter are always the ones without it. And that's no coincidence. You hate what you don't have, you mock what you fear, you pretend you don't want it because deep down you've accepted you'll never get it. But I'm here to slap that lie out of your mouth, because if you don't believe you can escape this trap, you're already dead. There's still time, but not much. The days are moving, your youth is fading, and the window of dominance is shrinking. There's nothing worse than being old and broke, a man with regrets and no options. That's hell on earth. Let me ask you, what are you waiting for? Some perfect moment? Some magical sign? Life is a test and money is your scorecard. No one respects the man with a good heart and empty pockets. They might smile at you, but they won't follow you. They won't listen to you. They won't trust you. Because in this world, value is measured by results, not effort, not potential, not good intentions. Results. And results require risk, sacrifice, pain. You must be willing to suffer now so that one day you never suffer again, because that's what money buys, the end of suffering. This world is not fair. It never was, but it's yours to take. No one is going to hand you freedom. You must rip it from the jaws of mediocrity. And the currency of that freedom is money. Anyone telling you otherwise is either lying to you or lying to themselves. Money buys peace. It buys options. It buys time. It buys power. It buys protection. And yes, money buys happiness, not because it makes you smile, but because it silences the demons that never let you smile to begin with. You don't have forever. You don't have tomorrow guaranteed. All you have is now. So either you rise or you rot. Either you build or you beg. Either you become the man who commands life or stay the man who obeys it. The clock is ticking, and the cost of inaction is everything you ever wanted. Move now.